Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Steelers Almighty Report Card. Today, we are doing the report card for the first half of the Pittsburgh Steelers season. We're sitting at 6-2 through the bye week. So, we're going to do a report card on all the position groups as well as coaching, and then give an overall grade for the entire team on what I believe how the Steelers have played so far this season. So, make sure, again, as always, before we get into this, if you haven't already, please make sure you follow, subscribe, continue to leave those comments, and hit the notification bell so you know exactly when Steelers Almighty content comes out. But let's get into this. So, first things first, at the quarterback position, look, I was a person that said at the very beginning, it was my very first podcast, April 4th. I thought Justin Fields, I wanted him to win the job. I said, if he can go out and win this job, then he could be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers for the next decade. Well, I don't know whether Mike Tomlin didn't want him to win the job, but through the preseason, it just didn't necessarily look like he won the job. Now, he did end up getting the job because Russell Wilson got hurt. We all understand that. And he didn't play bad. I think he had one bad game, against the Cowboys. But even in that game, Justin Fields led the Steelers down the field. They had the lead with 4 minutes to go, and the defense gave that one away. But overall, Justin Fields didn't play bad. He didn't. Anybody saying that he played bad, you're lying to yourself. No, he didn't. I'm not saying he played spectacular. I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is he did not play bad. He didn't put the ball in harm's way too often. He was making plays. Some of the plays that he actually did try and make down the field, he made the plays. Either one was called back on a penalty on us, or one was called on some crazy penalty, or even non-penalties. So, he played okay. He really did. But Russell Wilson has taken the offense to another level. Now, is it the two opponents that he's faced in a smaller sample size? Maybe. But the Jets defense isn't terrible. The Giants defense isn't terrible. So it's not like he's going against bottom five defenses or anything like that. That's not the case. Not even close to the case. But he's opened things up in the passing game and in the running game, and has just taken control of the offense as a whole. The Steelers, the offense just looks different. Okay? That's the best way that anybody can explain it. It just looks different. So if I have to give the quarterbacks a grade, I would give it a B plus because, again, Justin Fields didn't play bad. Russ has played pretty good. Look, he had that rusty first quarter and a half against the Jets, and then since then he's played good football. So I give him credit where credit is due. I give everybody credit where credit is due. So overall, for the quarterbacks right now, I'm giving them a B plus. Now let's move on to the running back position. Look, the first thing about a running back is their position is so dependent on everybody else. Now, you could say that about a lot of positions, but running back, first of all, is you got to have the offensive line play well. You got to get the ball. You got to get in the right play because even if the line blocks it and there's more guys on one side and you're running to that side, the quarterback's got to get out of that play. It's just so many different things for a running back to play well. And the first few games, I would say the first 5 games, it wasn't looking good. We'll get to the offensive line in a second, but there wasn't a lot of holes there. Running backs vision, we were all over Najee and his vision, and it was true. He wasn't seeing stuff. He was trying to bounce like he has done, the last couple of years, trying to bounce stuff outside. That's not Najee's specialty. I think Arthur Smith was trying to get used to maybe what the offensive line did well, what they didn't do well, what Najee Harris didn't do well. Jalen Warren wasn't healthy. He got banged up. Cordero Patterson looked explosive once he got into the game. Then he gets banged up against Indianapolis. He hasn't played since. So some of that has taken a toll. But again, as I mentioned, as Russell Wilson has taken over, and even the game before that with the Raiders, the offensive line has settled down a little bit, although they've gone through, and again, we'll get to them, their injuries, but it just looks better. And it has been better. We can be all over the running backs if we want to. and I get nitpicky with them from time to time. Sometimes, yeah, you got to jump cut here, you got to do that, which hey, they get paid to do that. So, but overall, I think the running backs have been a B. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the second half of the season. Give me a fully healthy Jalen Warren, a Najee playing as well as what he's playing right now, and then let's see what Cordero Patterson has. Get him back healthy, and let's see what this running back room can really, really do when all three guys are at full strength. Because we haven't seen that yet from the Steelers this year. All three guys at full strength. We haven't seen that, and I'm excited to see what we can do there. Moving to the wide receivers. You know, again, it's another position where you're depending on other people, so many other people, which a lot of football is that anyway. But you need the plays to be called. You need concepts, all that kind of stuff. Goes into wide receiver. The one thing that you can do, regardless of what's called, is you can get separation and you can give effort, and then you can catch the football when it's thrown to you when it hits you in the hands. We've had some issues with that. We've definitely had issues with separation. Now things are getting better. Like I mentioned, the offense looks different under Russell Wilson, but I don't want to just try to say that and then act like I'm bagging on Justin Fields. He's had his opportunities. He had his moments too. Guys dropped the football on him. What are you supposed to do about that as a quarterback? So the wide receiver room, again, I'm a guy that has said, yes, we need to get another receiver. I was never in the Brandon Ayuk thing. I was never in the Devontae Adams thing. I was never for the Steelers giving up high draft capital to go get another receiver because the way that this offense works, look, they're going to spread the ball around. And and if George Pickens is going to catch 4 balls for 75 yards and a touchdown, so be it. But that means all these other guys are also going to get the football as well. But I still believe the Steelers could go out there and get them another receiver on the other side. Again, that's not bagging on who we have. But to say if I have $100, hey, but I'd like to had like to have $150. That doesn't mean that I'm not happy to have the $100. It just means I want to have $150. So the Steelers, it doesn't mean you're unhappy with the guys that we have with Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin. Look, which I believe Calvin Austin, we got to use him more down the field. But that doesn't mean that we can't go get somebody else to enhance the wide receiver room. I still believe that they can do that. Now, we got a limited time, to be able to do that. And we also have limited as far as what's out there and available that we would want. But I still think that it's a possibility. I still think it's something that the Steelers can do. But will they do it? Who knows? But we'll see. We will see. But having said all of that, I'm going to give the wide receiver room a C so far. It's getting better. I think implementing Darnell Washington into the passing game is going to be a huge benefit. But we got to see more of Freiermuth. We got to see more. And if you go back and you start looking at tapes and stuff, Freiermuth is not getting a lot of separation right now, guys. He's just not. Some of that is scheme, but some of it is just not getting open. But we got to see more of that of him, and just get him more involved in this offense moving forward. Moving on to the offensive line. Look, man, the offensive line has just been a triage unit. Just guys getting hurt one right after another. It started out basically in camp with Faetano getting hurt early. Well, even before that, Broderick Jones had the issue with his arm. And whatever that happens to be, arm, elbow, who knows exactly what it is. You know what I've said about Broderick. I think he's got either a bicep injury, a tricep injury, or a UCL ligament that probably needs surgery. I think all of it probably needs surgery. But he's not playing well, but we don't need to beat that dead horse right now. But saying all of that with Troy Faetano getting hurt, then James Daniels getting hurt. Now Zach Frazier is hurt. Now Frazier looks to be coming back, but the other two are not. Steelers, this has been a patchwork offensive line. You were already going to start a rookie at center. Now you got one at guard. Then you got a second-year guy at one of your right tackles who's struggling. But Dan Moore has been playing not pretty good football. He's been playing good football this year. I know no Steeler fans thought that was going to happen. that Dan Moore's been playing good football. Well, he has. And you're kidding yourself if you say that he hasn't, because he has. Don't let the previous 3 years cloud your judgment on what you've been watching this year. We can say he played lousy the previous 3 years, and he did. But then we can also come back and say, well, this year he's playing good football. And he is. So give the man credit. Give him credit. If he's developed into a good starting left tackle, that's exactly what you want a fourth round guy to do. Develop into a good tackle. So having said all of that, like I said, it's been a triage unit, but they've put together the last few weeks. They've started to put this thing together, getting a lot of effort and blocking people. It hasn't been the best, but it's been effective. So right now, I'm going to give the offensive line a C with an opportunity to get better, because they're going to play some teams here coming up. They've got an opportunity here to do some stuff. So that might seem like a harsh grade to some people, but I'm just being honest. You see what you see. You like what you like. You don't like what you don't like, and it is what it is. I think they can be better, and I think they will be better second half of the season. So overall, for the offense, look, it is the 19th overall in yards a game, the Steelers right now. Eighth best in rushing, 26th best in passing. But again, passing is at 190 yards a game, but we went for over 250 yards the last couple of games. So those numbers, if we can continue that, it's going to get better and better, and we're going to keep moving up and up and up as far as passing, as far as an offense. So, with Russ in there, things look different. Competition's going to get tougher the second half of the season. But I still believe, if you just go and look at the defenses that the Steelers are going to face, not as daunting as what you would have thought at the beginning of the year. That's where the difference comes in. And the Ravens are a perfect example of that. The Ravens are the number one team against the rush. They're dead last against the pass. Dead last. So it's, like I said, and you never would have said that about the Ravens defense coming into the season. You might have thought they'd be number one against the rush, but you might have said, okay, against the pass, maybe they're ninth or something like that. They're dead last. So there's opportunities. They are opportunities here for this offense to really take a step forward. Overall, I'm going to give them a B. The problem that the offense have had this year is in the red zone. They got to get better in the red zone. They are 30th when it comes to red zone scoring touchdowns. You can't have that. Not the way that the teams that we are playing in the second half score points. We've got to be able to punch it in for touchdowns. Can't rely on field goals. Field goals will get you beat. They got to be able to score touchdowns, like I said, especially against the teams that we're going to play the back half of this schedule. So 30th is not going to cut it. Just not going to cut it. But overall, give the offense a B. Now let's move to the defense. Now, the defensive line, again, I've always said, and I say it every week because I want to make sure we're clear and I clarify it. I count our outside linebackers as defensive linemen. The reason that I do that is because the Steelers, 55% of the time this season, they've been in the nickel. And the nickel, that's four down linemen. That includes TJ Watt on one side, Highsmith / Herbig on the other side. So they have four down linemen. That's not our base 3-4 defense. So I count them as defensive linemen. And since I do, they've been playing outstanding. TJ Watt has been playing at MVP level, even when teams try to scheme him out of it, put 2 and 3 guys over there to block him. He still finds ways to impact the game. And oh, by the way, when you decide you don't want to double and triple team him and you want to single block him, he wrecks your play. And against the Giants, he wrecked your football game. Even though I don't know what the tackle, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. It's not even worth pronouncing, to be honest with you, talking about he didn't do anything. Well, sorry, he did do something. He made the play to win the football game. What else is there? Even if he did nothing, which he did do something, but let's say he did nothing the whole game, but then he wrecked the game and won the game by beating you. Okay. Whatever. I don't want to get into that. I could talk about that all day, those stupid comments. I get it. You're trying to save face, but the guy beat you when it mattered the most. Period. End of story. TJ Watt's that guy. Highsmith's been injured, but when he's been out there, he's been spectacular. He just has been spectacular. Look, we love Nate Herbig or Nick Herbig. Nate Herbig. We love him. The problem, though, is he's not great against the run. He's been better this year. He definitely has been better this year, but he's not spectacular when it comes to the run game. But he's hurt. I think he's coming back, and I don't know why I keep getting him and Nate Herbig mixed up. Nick Herbig, Lord have mercy, is great against in the past. Not spectacular against the run. Been better. Don't get me wrong. He's been better, but he's hurt. He'll get back. But I think having that 3-man rotation is really, really going to help the Steelers moving forward. You got to make sure he's healthy, though. We don't want to rush him back. But I think the weeks that he's had off, plus this bye week, him coming back, I think that's going to be spectacular. Cam Hayward has played at a Pro Bowl level this year, if not an all-pro level. He's basically told me and a bunch of other people that said, Cam's done. You know, I'd love to have him, but we don't need to pay him that much money. He's told us to just shut up. Good for Cam. I'm glad he's playing well. I'm glad he got his money. I'm glad he's playing well, and he shut all of us up because the Steelers need him. Because Keanu Benton has not been great. I think he's taken a step back, and the reason being is because I don't think Keanu Benton, number one, my conspiracy theory, and you know I hate those, but I think he's hurt, and we just don't know it. Two, he's not a true nose guard. You know, he's just not. He's 300 pounds. That's not necessarily big enough to play that tilt nose tackle position that he has to play. Teams go at him. I think he's a true 3 technique, but he's got to be out there. He's got to be out there right now. Matrevius Adams is not. And until he comes back, and I don't know if he's got to be able to fit the bill. And right now, Keanu Benton, like I said, I think he's hurt, but he's out there battling. Good for him, but the run defense has taken a little bit of hit the last couple of games. We got to figure that part of it out. Having said all of that, the defensive line gets an A. The defensive line absolutely gets an A. If this is as bad as it's going to be, then yeah, the defensive line gets an A. So I like what they're doing up front. The linebacker position. Ooh, now look, let's just call it what it is. Patrick Queen's been a disappointment. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. No splash plays from Patrick Queen all season. That's unacceptable for a guy that we're paying that kind of money. You got to make some splash plays. Some of that is scheme. So some of that's not his fault. I'll go that far because, and we'll get into that a little bit later here when we discuss the overall defense, but some of that is scheme. So you can't blame that on him. Some of it, again, is teams have gotten the Steelers in the nickel. They're going a ton of 11 personnel. Steelers put their nickel out there, and, he's in coverage a lot. But they're running the football at the nickel. So, but we need to see more from Patrick Queen, man. We need to see more. It can't just be, hey, he's got 8 tackles, 7 assisted, 1 solo. No, come on, man. Got to be better than that. Where's a pick, a sack, something, some type of splash play, from Patrick Queen. We got to be able to see that from him. Peyton Wilson's been out there a lot. Look, I like Peyton Wilson. You guys know I screamed it from the beginning of the season. He needed to be the starter and take over. Well, hey, like I mentioned, 55% of the time the Steelers are in nickel. He's out there. But teams have gotten us in the nickel package, and now they're running the football at Peyton Wilson. Look, he's got to learn. You can't run around blocks in this league. The linemen are too athletic, too big, and too good. Okay? Unless you're Fred Warner or Roman Smith or Roquan Smith, you're not running around blocks in this league, man. You're just not. And he's not there yet. I'm not even saying he can't get there, but he's not there yet. And every time he tries to run out of block or run around a block, he gets put out of position, and it's a big game. I mean, it's just that simple. Got to be more stout against the run. Again, we need to see a splash play out of him too. A deflection, an interception, something. We got to see more out of our linebackers. Look, Elandon Roberts, he's just not out there enough. And I know why. He struggles in pass coverage. But he struggled last year, and if we're being honest, Quan Alexander, before he got hurt, and Elandon Roberts, we were getting more out of those guys than what we are currently out of Queen and Wilson. Now, if you're being honest, you know that that is the truth. We got to see more. We got to see more. It's time. And again, some of that is scheme that I think the Steelers are going to have to change, and I think they will moving forward. We'll get into that in just a second. But the overall grade for the linebackers right now is a C. C at best, because they have not played well this season. Moving on to the secondary. Look, secondary, we can look at this two different ways. But I don't want to do that. Let's just look at it heads up. Minka is playing the center field. He's not making a ton. We're not calling his name all the time, but Minka is fine. Do I want to see more from him? Yes. Do we need to see an interception, a splash play, something here or there? Yes. But you know what? Minka doesn't have to be down in the box. He doesn't have to be playing slot corner. He doesn't have to do all those things because Deshaun Elliott has been the man coming in on the other side or as the other safety. He's just been incredible. So it was an outstanding signing by the Steelers to get Minka back to doing what he does best. Joey Porter Jr., yes, he's handsy. He is. But you know the progression that he's made running or being a tackler this year? You know, last year, he didn't even want to tackle. He didn't even attempt to tackle. And I get it. Yes, he had that one game, that one play against the Cowboys where he went to tackle and he just went to go punch the ball out. I get it. But other than that, he's been a pretty sure tackler this year. Maybe not as great in coverage, but he's done a good job. I think a lot of that is scheme. He's a man guy, and the Steelers play way too much zone. Way too much zone. Let him man up, and let's see what happens. On the other side, Dante Jackson, he's been okay. You know, he keeps getting banged up in football games, but it's football. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, guys, they get hurt from time to time. But he's played pretty good. He's played pretty good. I like that. It was a good pickup. It's better than the alternative of what we had last year. Lord have mercy. Don't get me started. Beanie Bishop, first 4 games was terrible. He was nothing but terrible. Since then, the man has picked it up. First 5 games, you could say. First 5 games, he was terrible. Dallas Cowboy game exemplified all of it. They singled him out and attacked him. Ferocity just went after him and said, if you're going to be on this field, Beanie Bishop, you better cover because we're coming after you. They did. He didn't hold up. It looked terrible. He's done a complete 180 since then. A complete 180. Give him credit. An undrafted free agent coming in and playing nickel corner is not an easy thing to do. He's had to do that because of injuries and suspension. He's gotten better. Give him credit. Give him credit. It was bad early. It's looked good as of late. Give the man credit. As of now, I'm going to give the DBs a B. So now I know what you guys are thinking, and I'll talk about this when I keep talking about the scheme. If you've noticed the Steelers, we haven't blitzed hardly at all this year. I mean, when was the last time you saw the Steelers run a zone blitz or a linebacker blitz or a corner? It's few and far between. We've done some run blitzes from time to time. More than likely, it's Deshaun Elliott doing that. But we haven't just rushed the passer. Maybe they're saving it for the second half of the season. I don't know. But I think that's part of the reason the Steelers are 21st in the passing game, overall, is because we're so vanilla. We're either lined up in a 2 deep or we line up in man, and that's it. We haven't rolled a ton of coverages. We haven't tried to trick a ton of people. It's just we're lining up, and this is what we're doing. Well, we got to do more than that the second half of the season. We got to have some more exotic blitzes. We've got to mix things up. We can't just, okay, this is what we're doing. Even if we roll a coverage or two, these quarterbacks are good enough, man. They've seen that stuff. We know what you're doing. We've got to be able to mix some stuff up, and I think we got to do more linebacker blitz. Send Patrick Queen, send Peyton Wilson, do stuff like that and become a little less predictable on the defensive side of the football. And if we are, then I think the second half sets up great for us. Having said all of that, give the defense overall a B. Now, let's move on. Special teams, look, this one's easy. Danny Smith is the GOAT. I keep saying that, but it keeps being the truth. Steelers have blocked 4 kicks this year, I believe. Technically, they blocked 5 because they took the one away from Mika Fitzpatrick, was absolute BS. That one should have been a block as well, but they took that away from him. Okay, fine. They just been outstanding in special teams, man. Just incredible. They returned a kick or a punt for a touchdown last game out. Um, Look, Bosworth is the best in the business. The only field goal that he's missed was a 62-yarder. He's been perfect other than that. Just whenever we need him, 50 to 57 yards, lock it in. He's knocking it home for us. In my opinion, like I said, the best in the business. Um, Corliss Waitman, I don't know how he didn't have a job. I keep saying this over and over again. I don't know how he didn't have a job. You're never going to be able to convince me that there were 32 other punters out there in the National Football League better than this guy. I just don't believe it. Either way, he's been a godsend after what happened to Cameron Johnston, um, getting hurt the way that he got hurt. And again, the punter is not just the guy that punts the ball. He's also got to handle the ball, on field goals and extra points. Waitman's done an outstanding job, man, of doing that. Like I said, how he didn't have a job already, thank God he didn't. But because the Pittsburgh Steelers needed a guy, he was there to answer the call. Good for us, great for him. Um, and who knows, moving into the future, we'll see. Maybe he's gotten himself a job by the way what he's done this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But A+, special teams gets an absolute A+. Now let's move on to coaching. Look, I know there's a lot of you out there that don't like Mike Tomlin. I understand that. But we're not here to argue whether you do or don't like Mike Tomlin, because at this particular moment, that's kind of irrelevant. You do have to, however, give Mike Tomlin credit for making the switch to Russell Wilson. Now, it's a small sample size. It's been 2 games, but you're lying to everybody involved if you're not going to say that the Steelers offense looks better with Russell Wilson under center. It does. It absolutely does. Again, that's not a knock to Justin Fields. It just means Russell Wilson, the offenses look better. It has. Now you could say it's because of the teams that we're playing, but you're lying just to make excuses for no reason. Just give the credit where credit is due. It's looked better. It looks different, and that's okay. But there's not a lot of coaches out there that would have made that switch, man. You got a 4-2 football team. You got a quarterback that's not playing bad. You make a switch, and it could have blown up in his face. I mentioned it before. He could have lost the locker room. He could have lost everybody upstairs, the executives. He could have lost the fans. He could have lost everybody with this move if it didn't work out. Now, again, it's only been 2 games, but the 2 games, it's worked out. So smaller sample size, but I think this is the move that Mike Tomlin wanted to make all along, because I think he realized, and I think more Steeler fans are realizing, is that this gives the Steelers a better opportunity to win in the postseason. Now, we got to get to the postseason. That's number one. But I think he's saying if we're going to win football games in the postseason, we got have to have an offense that looks better. And it has got to be able to move the ball down the field and make these kinds of throws. Because if we can't, we're not going to win in the postseason. So give Mike Tomlin credit for that. The defense, I think, is what it is. Do we have to be less predictable? Yes, we do. But the defense is still playing pretty good football. So I don't want to act like the defense is playing bad. I just think it can be better. That's all. And I think part of that is because we've been so vanilla. We got to get out of that and stop being so predictable. But overall, give the coaching a B. I don't like the offensive line coach, and now all of that is all part of coaching. I think Arthur Smith has done a good job. Terrell Austin / Mike Tomlin as the defensive coordinator, pretty good. So, but give it an overall a B. And that's what I'm talking about as far as the Steelers overall. Here's the thing. I'm not surprised at what the Steelers record is right now. It's 6-2. If you go back to episodes when we were predicting the season schedule and the record, you'll know that the first half, I said the Steelers were going to be 7-1. So, and I would have been right if the Steelers hadn't given away that game to the Cowboys. I would have been right. Now, the game that I had us losing was to the Jets and had us beating the Colts, but, that's semantics. But I'm not surprised at all at where the Steelers are. Now is where the fun starts. Look, nobody thought that the Commanders were going to be a good football team. They are. We've got all our teams in the division. Plus, when we got the Eagles and we've got the Chiefs, I mean, this is going to be a crazy, crazy next 9 football games, man. But right now, overall for the Steelers, I give our team a B. And I think we can get better. I think we are just on the tip of the iceberg, dealing with the type of injuries that we've had to deal with on the offensive line, some suspensions and injuries on defense as well. We get these people back, and then let's see exactly what we can do. It's going to be tough. Yes, it's going to be tough. But I've said it over and over and over again about these final 9 games. Yes, we're playing some good football teams. But the Steelers are a good football team too that teams have to play. Let's not forget that. You know, they got to play us too. And we're not just some run of the mill football team. At least I don't believe so. And we haven't been up to this point. So if we continue to progress, continue to get better, then things I think are going to end up on our side. Will we lose a few? Probably. But that doesn't mean we're going to lose them all. It doesn't even mean we're going to lose half of them. I'm excited for the second half of this season. I'm looking forward to it. Going to be a good week. I appreciate everybody out there, man, that supported this channel. I appreciate you guys. I really do. We started this April 4th. I know I always say that. Steelers Almighty is the fastest growing Steelers channel on YouTube. That's just the truth. It's all because of you guys. It's all because of you guys and the support you guys have given us, man. So we appreciate it. We're almost to 4,000 subscribers. That's insane. I thought it was going to take a year and a half to be able to get here, man. So I appreciate what you guys have done for us. We're going to continue to get better at our craft and putting this out for you guys, man. So until then, I appreciate you. I love you. Aloha.